3, 2, 1, let's go. All right. Once I see this connection's like great. Okay. All right. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the podcast, NHSL podcast. First ever podcast ever done in the league as we are approaching the season 3 playoffs. Let's give a talk about it. So, Disbelief or Arrows or Nick, whatever you want me to call you.
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
What are your thoughts about the St. John Bosco and versus Gaffney game when it first appeared? What were your thoughts about it?
I mean, if we're gonna be honest, it was quite a thriller to watch in the beginning. It was an exciting game. It was a close game. I don't know what happened to SJB in that game. They were leading in the first half, and they somehow threw the game away in the end. Gaffney has been showing out. They beat them 35-16, which is, to my surprise, a pretty big blowout. 20 points. Gaffney was getting blown out like that in the season, and it's just a surprising score. I think SJB next season will do way better if the same head coach gets the team back. And the same goes for Gaffney.
Yeah, I was going to say same goes for Gaffney because I had a live interview with Gaffney's coach, Jensen. And Jensen, was talking about, how he was leading his team. And, they had a big game against IMG after they took the dub against St. John Bosco. And he was talking about how his team has to play major parts, which I feel like they have a great and amazing team with great chemistry. It's just sometimes when it comes down to special moments, they just can't complete or follow through, which is going to hurt them at the end of the day. But they played one hell of a game against the number 1 seed.
Yeah, but I'm gonna second on that. They have a capable quarterback. They have some capable wide receivers. It just all came down to how they finished that, the mindset of the coaching, and pretty much all of the coaching. That last play was questionable by Gaffney, and I think they could have been a bit smarter. They could have taken the game home if they used their brains a bit more.
Yeah,
but that's what happens.
It kind of reminded me of the LaSalle versus Northcross game. Like, you remember what happened in that LaSalle versus Northcross game at the end of the play, the controversial play with Ease pushing up in the pocket and throwing I think he threw an incomplete pass.
No, I think it was an interception to the D-line.
Yeah.
It was an interception to the D-line. That completely cost them.
Like, honestly, I don't know what's, like, the big thing in this league or something like that with the goal line plays, but, like, another, like, big factor that played in that part, I feel like, was when they were talking about the controversy play with the tight end going out, and they were saying he was jammed after 5 yards. What were your thoughts on that?
Like, personally, I would call that a flag, but if we're going by the GUI, he wasn't past 5 yards, and whoever jammed him, that IMG player that jammed in that game, that was a great jam, regardless of if it was a flag or not, and that pretty much saved them the game.
I agree with that a lot, because I feel like he had a great jam, so, I mean, it just happens to make big plays. He made the big play, which stopped them and got them the dub. But anyways, let's move on to this next game. Let's talk about that LaSalle Northcross game. Honestly, that game was so, back and forth. What are your thoughts on it?
It was a pretty good game to watch. I didn't witness all of it, but in the beginning, it was a close game. If we're going to be honest, the entire playoffs have been close. The only game that hasn't been really close was the Palmetto versus Westlake. Not Westlake, versus
Southlake.
St. Francis. It was it was like, I personally own Palmetto, so I'm not going to say anything about them. But the score was 20-6 in halftime, and I did make a mistake as a coach, and I let an illegal player on. And that cost us the game, but what can we do? Anyway, these playoffs have been really competitive. You can see the teams getting close. Camden coming close against Mater. I can't even say the name, bro.
Matterday.
Against Matterday. And then you have IMG and Gaffney with a close game. LaSalle and Northcross with a close game. All the playoffs have been competitive, and that's what we want to see. As media, as coaches, as admins, everybody wants to see a competition in the playoffs, and that's what's been happening.
I agree with that 1,000%. It's just been really, 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 it's been very tight, very close playoff game, recently, as all the teams played. Now that we're coming down to the final four Final Four in playoffs, man. We have Mater Day versus IMT, and then we have St. Francis Academy versus Norcross. Now, do you want my honest opinions about that St. Francis versus Norcross game?
Uh, Go for it. I already know what
If
you're gonna say.
if I had to give my honest opinion, I feel like Norcross has the freest natty trip I ever seen in my life. I'm not gonna lie, because if you really think about it, Palmetto was absolutely clapping St. Francis in that game. St. Francis couldn't keep on the same pace, and I feel like Norcross would have been a better opponent in that game. But Palmetto made a mistake. I mean, I'm sorry. Yeah, Palmetto would have been a better opponent, and Palmetto made a mistake, and they're living through it, and it happens. But now it's all on St. Francis' shoulders to try to pull off an upset. Do you think they can pull off an upset?
Looking at how they played last week, I doubt it. But we can never know what's gonna happen, especially with San Francisco. They have a lot of skill on their team, despite the amount of I don't want I want to say questionable play call that they have, like versus Palmetto, for example, my team. They abused the short a lot, and they had a lot of screens and checkdowns that they abused,
Mm-hmm.
and I believe that this is going to be questionable, and not many people are going to like this, but I believe Norcross's main strength is probably their linebacking core. Their D line is meh. Their deeps are meh. I think their linebackers are the best part of their team. So if the linebackers can compete with the checkdowns and the shorts and the runs, they have a free trip to the natty.
Yeah, I feel like if Norcross could play, smart and hard, they could probably win the game. But St. Francis, in order for them to really pull an upset off, I feel like they gotta be tight with chemistry. They gotta be tight with making plays. They gotta see through the window, without the shades on it. If they can't see through the window, they won't see the light. But if the shades are closed, it will always be dark. So they have to play
Yeah.
smart, play hard, and be thoughtful and mindful. Watch the penalties. I feel like St. Francis could make a possible upset, but only way it happens is their QB steps up and their wide receiver stepped up.
If I'm going to be honest, their QB did not step up last game, and
No,
I
he
think
did
they're going to
not.
need him. I think they're going to need him to be a crucial part of their win if they want
Hmm.
to take it all the way to the natty.
I agree.
Um, he has to be a little bit more. He has to take his time a little bit more, and
Yeah.
if the O line's collapsing, he has to look for other routes because in the game versus Palmetto, he was forcing a lot of balls, and he threw I think 4 interceptions that game in the
Dang.
first half alone. I think he needs a lot of work if he wants to take it anywhere.
Yeah, I feel like he does need a lot of work. We're not saying it's not possible, but some work's gonna need to be secluded into that, you know, into their offense. And
So my prediction for the Norcross versus St. Francis game, I have Norcross taking the win by at least 2 touchdowns
okay,
to take it home to the natty.
if you had to give me an exact score, what would it be?
I will give you the score as 26-8.
Okay.
26-8. That is my prediction.
I feel like St. Francis felt like they got a free pass, but I've seen Norcross play sometimes, and I just feel like they're not living up to the team they were this season. You know what I mean? Or the team they were supposed to be, or all that hype. Living up to the hype at the beginning of the season. So like, if I had to give
Yeah.
my if I had to give my predictions, because I feel like if Palmetto played in this, they probably beat both teams and went to the Natty, honestly. But if I had to give my prediction, it would probably be, hmm, I would say 20. I would say 28 Norcross, 20 St. Francis Academy. I feel like it would be
I
a little
mean,
closer.
if we're gonna be honest, the game before there was like 24-28 with I think Norcross taking the win. And Norcross hasn't been living up to the hype at all because mainly the quarterback issues. And
Hmm.
okay, I'm going to say this even though it's unrelated to this. I believe that Norcross is nothing without Off White and Evil Ace. And
I
here's why.
agree. I
With
agree.
Evil
That's
Ace, Evil Ace has carried them on their back. If we're not going to talk about like actual skill because he needs the good wide receivers to complete, but without Evil
yeah.
Ace, the team is just a bunch of mumble jumble
I
because yeah,
I
because if
agree.
you're gonna think about it, IMG last week versus Camden. They lost to Camden week 12, and
Mm-hmm.
Evil Ace wasn't there. And I think
Or Off
they played
White.
LaSalle. I don't know who their quarterback was for versus
I
LaSalle,
think it
but
was.
I think it might have been Amar.
Amar. Yeah, it was Amar. It was Amar. It was
Yeah,
Amar.
Amar is a okay quarterback. I think he can hold them
Yeah,
up for a
I
bit
feel
until
like
Ace gets back.
honestly, I feel like Amar. I feel like Amar. Like next season, like if Norcross decides to like bring him back, I feel like Amar should go his own path. The reason why, because like he's a. I seen Amar play. He's actually a really decent, really good QB. I feel like his potential could be used on a starting lineup. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean we'll just have to see how it goes.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
so our prediction for the Norcross,
Oh yeah,
both of us believe that Norcross is winning the game.
yeah. I
Um,
believe Norcross takes it by 8.
Yep. All right, let's move on to the IMG versus Matter Day game.
Oh
And
Lord.
in my opinion, Matter Day has been playing really well,
Mhm.
despite the controversy of playing like barely scoring and all that stuff and what happened last week versus Camden. I
Yeah.
think it was Camden that got better, not Matter Day
Yeah.
being worse.
Yeah.
Um,
I can.
I think yeah. Go
Go.
ahead, go. My
Oh no,
bad.
okay, you said. I can tell you off personal experience because I played that game and I'm a wide receiver for Matter Day. Um, Based on that game, a lot of things were out of place for us. I would say I'm gonna speak from my point of view for my team. A lot of things were out of place for us. Like I would say, like our O line, our linebackers did not show. So we had to play different people at different positions that usually never played their position. Like, you know, it would have been great if they showed, but we had to push through. Also, Camden, their team had gotten better. Like, I'm not even gonna lie, their team, like, I feel like Camden and Gaffney, they just both stepped up out of nowhere after be putting it in the dirt. Uh,
Yeah, I got you.
I had to like really rely on Django, our quarterback Django. Django has really
Yeah.
stepped up. Django and Keon, I feel like, has really stepped up, and they played a big part in the Matter Day offense and
I
defensive.
believe that I believe that Matter Day has a good lineup overall, but
Mm-hmm.
they're probably going to need to push it a lot to beat IMG next week, despite IMG being supposedly overrated.
Yeah.
And here's why: IMG has supposedly the some of the top 10 players within the league. They have Norton, the MVP candidate, QB of the year candidate, blah blah blah. They have Ski, wide receiver of the year candidate. They have Monster,
Mm-hmm.
DB of the year candidate. They have
Yep.
a full lineup of just sweats.
Yep.
And what I'm saying is that even though they didn't show out versus Gaffney, you never know what could happen with them next game. And I think Matterdy, if they want to take this to the chip all the way, they're gonna have to play a different level next week.
Definitely. Definitely. I know the last time they played, the score was 12-6
The
in
score was
favor.
close. It was close.
Yeah, they were the. I'm pretty sure Matter Day was the only team. Like, I'm not even trying to sound like overhype my team or anything like that. They were the only team in the league this season to let keep IMG under 20 points. I looked at all the games. IMG scored 20 points in all of them, and they held them to 12 points. So, which I was very proud, but it wasn't proud enough. So many things that went wrong that game, and I wish it went better. But got another shot at it, and then I'm just looking forward to play. And, you know, looking forward to that game.
Yeah. So, what's your prediction for the match?
I usually don't like to predict, but I know if I said my team was winning, it's gonna be biased, biased, biased.
So,
But you
yeah. So hold up.
got you
I
you yeah.
believe.
Go
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I'll do
ahead.
it. In personal perspective, I believe if Matter D works hard enough, they can pull off the upset. But if Matter D plays as they've been playing, I think IMG is going to pull off with a close win. Maybe we'll say 16-12 with a interception. That's
Mm,
how I see it. If Matter D can play a different level next week, I see that they could win by a blowout. They could win close because IMG is not looking good as of right now, and I don't think they're a natty team, despite them having that much skill.
I
Norton
agree.
is a great quarterback. He plays well, but sometimes the defense has been letting up. It's the offense plays well, the defense lets up, and that's a bad combo.
I agree. I agree. Agree. Yeah.
So,
But
so let's talk about the progress of the teams that got sent home this week. Um,
man. Man, oh man, oh man.
There are a lot. Let's start from the bottom of the chain.
Saints.
Despite them being out of we'll talk about the teams that aren't even in the playoffs just for respect.
Oh, next
We
season
have
prospects.
next season. So Katie, I don't think Katie's head coach is getting rehired,
I don't think
and
either.
even despite them somehow winning a game
Hmm.
and keeping it close to the IMG Week 11, I don't think they're getting rehired, and the reason why is because they've been playing like garbage the entire season, and pretty much they don't have really much depth. They've had struggles trying to rally people to matches. So I'm gonna give Katie a new head. I believe Katie's gonna have a new head coach by season 4,
Okay.
and I think it depends on who gets head coach, whether it's going to be poverty or it's going to be a playoff contender or anything.
Okay.
Um,
What about Westlake? As you know, they played Katie in the garbage bowl, or was that? Yeah, pretty
I
sure.
believe
Well, Westlake.
personally, I believe Westlake is completely underrated, and here's why.
I
Even
believe
though
it too, man.
even though they've lost the majority of their games, they've kept it close in the majority of them, other than like versus contenders like IMG, Palmetto, obviously for reasons. If they could solidify the roster, get a little bit of chemistry in, and get a little bit of organization in, I believe Westlake could be a top 3 contender. And it's really they have a decent quarterback. It's not always about the quarterback. It's really about the leadership, and they have 2 good leaders. They have Oroshi, I don't know how to say his name, and Krem.
Yeah,
So
Krim.
Westlake,
Yeah, I feel like. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
you're good, you're
I
good.
feel like Krim, like overall next season's gonna be a very great head coach for Westlake. As you know, they've been having to deal with some controversial things. I feel like Krim taking over the Westlake program is probably the best thing for their program because Westlake was not doing good without him. It's just making things a little harder. Westlake just hasn't been a successful team. But I feel like if Krim could find up and write up the right pieces for his team next season, there definitely could be playoff contenders as they are underrated. Very. I
They're
agree with that.
extremely underrated. Alrighty, let's move to number 10, South Lake. South Lake personally has been a pass around team,
Yeah.
and I'm not going to argue about this because they've had like 6 head coaches in the last 7 weeks, 8 weeks.
Yeah. I played
So
for South Lake. I played for South Lake earlier in the season
yeah, I think
with
the
the
first
Amex.
disband was when they played Palmetto. They
Yeah.
disbanded after playing Palmetto, and then they disbanded the week after, and then the week after again,
Yeah.
and
It's
then two
just
weeks after. It was a mess. It's a mess.
yeah, I feel like South Lake's definitely gonna get a new head coach just because of all of the disbandments. And I feel like a rule that we should make next season. I talked to Norton about this too. Me, Norton, and I'm trying to get Av on it now. I feel like for a rule for next season, like for disbandment, we should do like season suspensions, like you get suspended for season 5, or you can get suspended for season 6. Because listen to me, listen here, like honestly, that is a big part of the league. Bad enough we don't have a lot of teams in the league. Let's be honest, we really don't have a lot. We have a lot, we have enough, and we have a lot, but we don't have OD a lot. You know what I mean? So like,
Yeah.
I'm thinking like for people to disband, I feel like that should just be like an automatic season punishment because like teams you see how many teams disbanded last season with no punishments, or they'll
Yeah.
get like a game suspension. What is the game gonna do? You gotta make someone who's ready to FO has to be committed with their team through the start of the season to the end of the season. You know?
Yep, you're right. You're totally right.
I
I
just
believe you shouldn't be quitting head coach if you're gonna apply for it. You might as well not quit on it.
yeah.
Losing a game doesn't matter when you can win another game.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if you quit at the end of the season, I feel like it kind of should be punished. But like, I'd understand if you quit and you're like 0-9, so you're not
Yeah.
making playoffs.
Yeah, like I mean, like even if you go 0-9, or if I lose literally every game of the season and I was the head coach, you know what? I can't be mad because that's what I signed up for. I knew the consequences of playing that position and playing that position and role as a head coach. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
if I lose like 12 games, and let's say I go into playoff, I mean I don't make playoffs either. I'm not mad. I'm not gonna demand I don't think you should demand and go to another team just so you can play playoffs. Your team missed playoffs. That's what people have to understand. And I feel like FOs also should be picked on people that know how to coach teams, know how to keep teams, so the comp is not so spread it out. Like I feel like in the league, the comp is very diverse. We got IMG, Palmetto, Matter Day, and who else? Give me another team.
Norcross.
Norcross, yeah. We have those
Pretty
top
much
four.
it.
Those are the top four comp teams. I don't like that. I want there to be 8 teams that are least comp and they play at about the same level, so it could make the matches interesting for next season. It would make so much sense if we did that. So I feel like
Yeah.
FOs should be picked on based on players' applications and their success in the league or success in other leagues that are very good. Like if they say I have a team of 64 or 44, that doesn't matter. I don't care that you have a team of 64 or 44. I need you to have a team that could play at a high level and win games and make games more competitive in the league. Because season 4 NHSL needs to be competitive. Because if it is competitive, then the more competitive a league is, the more members it's going to get.
Yo, completely right.
Sorry, I had to get that off my chest.
You're good, no problem. All right, so number 9 we have SJB, and I'm gonna say this now. SJB with the right coaching, I feel like I want to say coaching, but their coaching has been okay. With the right coaching, they have a great roster. They have a lot of decent wide receivers, and they have a decent quarterback.
Football Fusion players. I know a lot.
Yeah, which is a surprise.
Yeah, like I never thought Football Fusion players would make their way to this this league in this core and this type of environment. But hey, if they're here, they're here, So like, I look at it like this. I know some of the people that played over there, they definitely have a QB who was an LFG. He made playoffs in the LFG, the most competitive league for Football Fusion. He made playoffs, almost made it past round 1 Mezzo last year, and he's like D4 now. I feel like he could be a great QB in this league once he learns like the mechanics and everything.
Yeah. I got you. Honestly, I feel like SJB could go far if they get the right coaching staff and they'll work a little bit more harder.
Definitely. I feel like
All right. And then let's see, what are the other teams that got eliminated from the playoffs? There's LaSalle, Camden, Norcross, Palmetto. Those 3.
Let's start. We can go to LaSalle. Let's talk about Ease. Let's talk about Ease and his team and how far they made it. Honestly, I'll start it off. For Ease to dig his team out the dirt, I feel like he digged his team out the dirt and brought them back to life because LaSalle, let's be honest, they were an inactive team, just like St. Francis. St. Francis was an inactive team once they lost Baltimore FedEx. And, I felt like he really brought the good out of that team and he brought it out the dirt. And he made that team a competitive team. As I've been around the environment, I didn't play for him, but I've been around the environment of that team. They have great chemistry, a great bond with each other. And, I respect them for taking LaSalle out the dirt and bringing them to a close game as they had a close one with Norcross.
He did what I did. He saved the team.
Yeah.
He put them in a position to make playoffs, and that's what they did.
Mm-hmm. So
it's respectable from him. Yeah.
I respect them a lot.
I feel like LaSalle is a set squad. I don't think really they need much. I think they need probably a better O-line. That's probably it.
Yep.
They have a good team overall.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Yeah, they have a great team. It's just I feel like they need a better O-line and
all right, so chemistry. I feel like LaSalle next season is gonna. I feel like a lot of teams next season are gonna be comp with the right coaching.
Yeah, definitely.
And LaSalle is one of those people that I believe will go far if Ezwin gets head coach again. All right, we have Camden and Palmetto to talk about. Camden, I'm going to say it right now. Camden needs a quarterback. And Camden is a good team. They have a good roster. They don't have a quarterback. And this is what we were talking about earlier with Amar. I feel like he could be one of those people to go to Camden and try to set a setting where he can quarterback and lead them. But Camden has been struggling all season, and mainly because of their quarterback issue. They've had to in and out of quarterbacks. They went from K and Hikes, Aeropie, FaZe. They've just been through like a ton of quarterbacks, and I feel like if they don't fix that issue, they're not really going to go far next season. They have a decent wide receiver core, tight end core. I feel like the O line
Yeah.
needs work.
Playing
Their defense
Camden,
needs work for sure.
yeah, playing Camden this season was actually really, really like it was really, really great. I feel like they had a really good team. Honestly, they had a great. I'm not gonna lie, like their O line and D line were actually pretty decent. Their wide receivers were really good. Their wide receivers were good, and their quarterback was good. That was like the best part of their team because they were able to, sorry, they were able to like call chemistry, really good chemistry on that team, and they would call out VC plays. Like I'm talking about like in block chemistry. Like when we were playing them, they were doing like 10-yard curls, walks, screens, GPs. They were doing all that, and which was making their team a really great team. And they were able to use all that to their advantage, but they just couldn't pull through. So honestly, I feel like Camden really doesn't need anything on their team, but just better coaching, I would say, and better players.
Yep. Feel like here's the issue in my perspective. Camden has Aeropie at QB. Aeropie mains wide receiver. Putting him
Exactly.
at quarterback puts them at a disadvantage.
Mm-hmm.
That's my take for it all because when they put Aeropie at quarterback, they lose their top wide receiver. And when they put Aeropie at wide receiver, they don't have a capable quarterback to give him the ball.
Exactly.
So fixing it is going to be an issue, but if they pull it off, it's another comp team to add to the list.
Mm-hmm.
All right, all that's left for the last team is my team.
Yep. Palmetto. Really, there's not much to talk about Palmetto. All right. Honestly, you want my honest thoughts about Palmetto? I feel like
Yep, go for it.
Palmetto just needs a better like. They need to be more organized. Like when I was watching that game, you guys played against St. Francis. You guys were like going off sides. You guys were like arguing in chat,
Oh no!
spamming in
Listen,
chat.
listen,
It's
bro.
I
Listen,
would say like
they do that so intentionally. They all do it intentionally.
yeah,
Like
that's the issue.
Tensoji,
You know?
Tensoji, all of them. They do it on purpose because they don't really.
Yeah.
Like we've
Like
been that all season, and it's mainly because we like tend to like blow the team out, and then we just do whatever we want after.
hmm
And sometimes I'm gonna be honest. Sometimes it almost costs us matches.
yeah,
So
like I understand you guys are a great team. Tenchi he's a great player, but I feel like this that toxicity or that ego kind of that you guys have. I feel like it can. If you guys could just notch that down a little bit, just a little bit, you guys could be a great team into making because you know there's one thing. There's one thing like to win a game by like 40-0, and then you're being toxic. But like if you're winning by like 21, 20, I mean that's good. That's really good too. But I feel like that's not like you should just if you guys were more like organized and I feel like less toxic, you guys would be a great team. You guys would probably be over the overrated IMG currently. That's what everyone's saying that they're overrated. IMG right now.
yeah,
I feel like you
especially with
guys
the
would be.
drama that went on
Mm-hmm.
lately, all that drama that happened and the team breaking apart,
Yeah.
and we still held through. So yeah, I feel like my team needs a little bit more organization, a little bit more standards to put on the team. We have enough skill, we have enough attention, we have enough loyalty. It just really comes down to how we act as a team, how childish we can be, how
Mm-hmm.
mature we can be, and really if we put ourselves in a position where we're mature enough to push through and we're mature, the coaching staff pushes through, keeps the team in order. I think we're the best team in the league easily. And I
Definitely.
think
Definitely.
this is gonna sound really overrated because it's my team, but we're really the only team that has blown out every other team week by week.
I agree.
I think majority of the games we played since with me at head coach, we had a 20 or more lead. Feel me?
Yeah, I feel you. I definitely feel you. I feel like you guys could be a great contender for next season. And as long as you guys just get yourself together and pull yourselves together and let go of the the little childish games and stuff like that. But that's not bad. That's just called having fun. You know what I mean?
Exactly. You
Nothing
got me.
wrong. There's nothing wrong with having fun. You know what I mean? But I'm just saying, like, if you guys like made your team a little bit serious, you guys definitely be top tier. You guys are already
Uh,
top tier, but you guys would be the toppest of all top tier here. Probably better than the Gaffney and with County. That
Indeed.
team, I wonder what the heck happened to that team. That team was going to be something special, but it just died down. But yeah, those are my thoughts about those teams and stuff like that. Is there anything else on your mind?
Not really. Honestly, I feel like we kind of messed up in the playoffs. We could have taken it all the way easily. Um,
Definitely.
and yeah, I feel like next season is going to be a trip for us, and hopefully we get our revenge next season.
Uh huh.
All right, I think that's all for this podcast.
All right, and
All right,
for
we'll wrap this up.
yeah, we'll wrap this up. For the ladies and gentlemen that were listening out there, thank you for coming and listening into the first NHSL podcast in the league. I am very appreciative of you guys of listening and being there for us. Thank you for listening, as I'm going to be ending this very soon.
All
I'll
right,
see
you
you
have a good night,
guys.
bro.
You have a good night too. Good night.